Drew here, Frisco Tennis Stringing, where we offer courses, consultations, classes here at our tennis pro shop. I just got back from the Cincinnati Open 2025. I had a wonderful experience. I think this is my fourth time going, and I don't go sponsored. I don't go as a stringer or as a hitting partner. I pay my own way and just go just simply as a fan, as a spectator. I go with my mother, and we always have a great time. This is, I think, our fourth or fifth time going. This is our first time going since the big investment. I think $260 million they put into it. We always have a great experience. This year was no different. Let me give you a little bit behind the scenes in this video of why this could be a tournament you would consider going. Again, if this isn't a sponsor video, I'll just give you why I always enjoy it and why it's something you may want to consider going if you're a tennis fan. We'll talk about that coming up. As far as getting to the tournament, I live in North Texas, so getting there, you really do need to fly. And if you're watching this video, unless you live in the Cincinnati area, Ohio area, Kentucky, the surrounding areas, you probably will have to fly. I won't say the exact price of what we paid for, but it wasn't cheap. I've also looked at other flights to other cities at that time. It was a lot less. So the flight and the hotel will be a big expense. We always try to stay at a hotel close to the tournament because if you go to a day session, sometimes there's a little bit of space in between the day and night session. Not always. A lot of the times they do pretty much overlap, but sometimes they do. But like this year, since we got a hotel close, when there was a rain delay, we could just go grab something to eat, go back to the hotel, and then come back once the rain stops. So that's always a reason why staying at a hotel close can be good. But obviously, the hotels are expensive, surprisingly very expensive. From what I saw, obviously, they're pretty much all booked up for the tournament. They're in the Cincinnati area. So, hotel's a big expense, and the flight is a big expense. So, that's something you will have to look into to see if it fits within the budget. Also, the tournament happens at a time where school is just starting. So, if you have kids or want your kids to go, a lot of times that's difficult because with school starting, you don't want to miss the first week of school, or a lot of times you don't. So that is something to consider before going to the tournament. The cost and the timing can be a little bit difficult in mid-August. As far as the ticket prices go, you can buy the main stadium seating, and you can kind of judge how much you want to pay based on where you sit, just like pretty much everything. If you sit right behind where the server and returner are, it's going to be expensive. If you work your way up, it's going to be less so. And I think the ones way up, in my view, are very affordable. You can buy single session tickets or multiple sessions at a time. But the main stadium is all assigned seating. You can buy the day session, which usually has three matches, or the night session, which usually has two. Although with the rain delay, that was mixed up a little bit this year, but you can always expect that. So you can buy the main stadium that gets you into the whole complex, so you can go to your assigned seat or walk around, and it's all open seating. The second biggest court is the grandstand, is what it's called, and that is all open seating as well, with the exception of the lower levels. So if you watch it on TV, you'll see the lower levels actually had some seats open, and the upper levels were all packed because the upper levels were all open seating. But for that second biggest court, the grandstand, the lower levels were assigned seating. So you can buy an assigned seat to that, which actually is not a bad idea. Looking back, we didn't do that, but it would be nice, and those prices actually looked very reasonable to actually have an assigned seat on that second biggest court on the grandstand. So that's something to consider, because if you get that, then you can pretty much go anywhere you want except for the main stadium. And the grandstand, the second biggest court, really has almost the exact same matches as the main court. Main court, it's an American tournament, so it leans more towards the big Americans, but not always. So you can look into that. So those are the main ticket options. You can do multiple nights to bundle it together, or just buy a day pass, a night pass. We did 3 days and 3 nights and had a great time doing that, and that was a good call on our part. As far as who you'll see there, anyone you see in the U.S. Open, you're probably going to see at the Cincinnati Open. All the big names try to play it. It's a 1,000 event, ATP and WTA, so you're going to see all of the big names there that you'll see in the Open. Obviously, the men, it's best of three sets, but other than that, it's really the exact same players you're going to see in the Grand Slam. The exception, Novak wasn't there, unfortunately, this year, but any big name is going to be in Cincinnati to get ready for the U.S. Open. So if you go to the tournament, you can expect to see really whoever you want to see. The big names will usually be on the center court where you have to buy a ticket, but not always. A lot of the bigger names will also be on the grandstand, which is open seating, or at lower courts. They have another big court, court 3, which is a very large court. and you're really going to see some great tennis, even if you don't get the main stadium seating. But the big ones they're obviously going to try to put in that main stadium. As far as the tournament overall, the concession actually looked the same. There's plenty of vendors selling pretty much any food you would want. It does cost a bit more, as you'd expect at any sporting event. Parking is free with your ticket, which is always nice. Usually a little bit of a walk from, it's like a big open field that you can then walk to the stadium. So that is very nice. I know the $260 million investment, they introduced some more interactive stuff. I think a lot of that was for kids. And I think a lot of it's for the players, the clubhouse, the practice courts. So all in all, the investment I think is going to pay off. It makes it much more fan friendly. This year, the heat was an issue. It's really the first year where I remember the heat being an issue. In the past, in the summertime, it's always going to be hot, but this is the first year where the heat you did feel. And I think the players, it was getting to them as well. And sometimes as a fan, it can be worse because you're just kind of sitting there baking. So it can be tough. So this was really the first year I really felt it. And I talked to some people who have been going for 25, 20 years sitting by me, and they said this is the worst they felt in the heat too. So that was definitely a factor. I think it affected the players and the fans. Plenty of shade around. They have misting tents, but if you go, the heat probably will be a factor given it's mid-August in the Midwest. I've been to the U.S. Open. I've been to the Dallas Open. If you enjoy watching tennis, you can't go wrong with any of those. But I just always love Cincinnati because you have so many big names from the men and women there, and it's very walkable. The whole complex is walkable. So it's, I think, just a really great tournament for that reason. Where if you enjoy tennis, there's really no dull moment because even if you or watching one match, you can check the app, and they have a Cincinnati Open app. You can then walk to another match nearby, or if you want to take a break and get something to eat, there's plenty of concession stands nearby. So that's good. The ease of walkability, I think, is a good selling point of the tournament, and there's always action, especially earlier in the tournament. It's now like a 2 week format, which I'm undecided on. I kind of do miss the 1 week format where you would get there, or at least I would get there on a Monday and watch it through Wednesday. It'd be packed, and then the finals would be on the weekend. The 2 week thing's throwing me off a little bit. And I know I'm recording this after the final. It was a little bit of a debate why they'd have a big final between the two biggest men in the middle of a Monday. I don't know how much of that is really the Cincinnati Open's fault, but so I'm still figuring out this 2 week format. But it sounds like that's going to be around. So if you do go, it probably will be a 2 week format. But it's a very cool tournament. Just the overall vibe is great. The walkability, see any name you want, really. And you can really judge what you want to pay based upon that. So if you want to pay not that much, you can still see some bigger names at the grandstand, open seating, or the lower court. So I had a great time. I got some merch, and I plan to go again next year to the Cincinnati Open, and I can't wait. So this has been Drew from Frisco Tennis Street, and I hope to talk soon.